You've probably had your Minecraft house destroyed for some reason. That's why you had to take shelter in a villager's house, because at the time it was the best option you had. After all, it seems that these houses are indestructible and nothing can happen to them. However, are villagers really the most efficient builders in Minecraft? And houses like these should be built by ourselves to provide the safest shelter in the world? To answer this question, I had to think and came to the following conclusion. The best way to evaluate something is to test it by putting it into practice. That's when I asked you for ways to test the efficiency of the villagers' houses. And you sent me some very creative ideas like this one. David Gamer, what if you created a dam? Put a lot of water on one side and a village on the other and use TNTs to blow up that dam? Will the water invade the village? And then we'll find out if the village is against the water. We built the dam and it looks like this. On one side, we have thousands of liters of water being protected by a wall by the dam itself. And on the other side, we have the village, made up of villagers and iron golems. In this village, it's a traditional Minecraft village, with some of the villagers' houses, the little farms they build, and also some cows. However, in order to assess whether the villagers' houses are really good, we need a method of evaluation. And I've come up with one myself. We have 100 villagers in this village. The number of villagers who survive after the natural disaster is the score their house efficiency receives. For example, if 30 villagers die, they will survive 70, so the grade is 7 out of 10. And to start our first test, I'm going to put several TNTs here, but several. Exactly, because this is where our dam will be breached. And in order to break this dam even more effectively, I'm going to drill a very long hole in it. The time has come for us to light those TNTs and watch the destruction unfold. The explosion has started and the dam has been breached. And the water is rapidly invading the villagers' village. The dam burst and the water began to take over the entire village. It took over very quickly until it reached this situation. The villagers all huddled together in one corner along with the iron golems and the cows. And the other half of the villagers are in this other corner, also huddled together with the iron golem. Poor villagers. But the most impressive thing is that one of their houses stood the test of time and the second floor is intact. The glazing didn't break even with all the water, and even the treasure mine, the water took over. It invaded everything. Even a villager got in here to survive. And didn't it work? And the result was 32 villagers survived in this little corner, and another 18 villagers survived in this corner. But if you dive down, more villagers survived underwater. One of them stayed under this house. Another villager managed to survive on top of this other house. All that was left was a small gap in the water. A total of 52 villagers. So the efficiency score against the dam is 5.2 BB. What if a meteor shower fell from the sky? Would these houses be able to survive and protect the villagers' lives? We have 100 villagers in this village. And now we're going to invoke a meteor shower to see how efficient these houses are and how many villagers will be left. Meteorites started falling from the sky. A stupid scene. Extremely epic. Not for the villagers because they have just begun to feel the impact of these absurd meteorites. Except they're quite lucky because their homes are surviving. Some meteors have started to hit the villagers' houses, and where they're falling, they're kind of evaporating, or at least taking half their house with them. I came to take a look at the state of the village. This villager was left homeless. The meteor created a crater and the water started invading his house. Poor villager. The village also suffered serious damage. They are all very sad. In fact, this iron golem is still on fire thanks to the impact of the meteor and has just died. However, in general, the village is still in good shape. After that, I did a count to see how many of the 100 villagers still survived the meteor shower. 72 villagers survived. Their house score is 7.2. Mateus Crafter. Lucas in normal rain, they survived. But what if the rain turned acidic? Would it melt the village or would the houses remain standing? So now I'm going to make acid rain fall from these clouds. In 3, 2, 1, rain! The rain has started to fall and it's extremely bizarre. Because it hits all the villagers, they weren't prepared. Some of them are extremely desperate after it started raining acid rain. And they're all taking damage from this bastard rain. They're even lasting longer than I expected for rain like this. The guys are tough. Some of them are sheltering inside their homes. But the vast majority aren't too bothered by green rain like this, which causes damage. Some slimes have started to sprout in the village, and most of the villagers are being defeated. After the rain calmed down, some slimes remained in the village. However, the iron golems began to play their part and wipe out these slimes that were trying to wipe out the villagers. But we can see from the state of these iron golems that they almost died in the rain. However, the rain also ruined all the crops in the village. All the wheat has been destroyed, so they probably won't have anything left to eat. Also, the grass is gone, leaving the place completely hideous. And after seeing all this destruction and counting villager by villager, only 43 villagers survived. Score 4-3 against acid rain. Dogito. Yesterday, a bolt of lightning struck near my house, and I'm glad it didn't hit my house because I think something really bad could have happened. This time the weather has changed, and stormy clouds laden with lightning began to fall on the village. So far so good. It seems the villagers aren't having so much trouble with lightning. That's really impressing me, man. They're tough. Lightning struck the house. Not even the house caught fire. That's the work of a good engineer. The rain continued to fall. The lightning continued to try to defeat the villagers. But the vast majority of them ran to their homes to protect themselves. The clouds began to clear and the weather returned to normal. And when I came back here, the village was completely intact. And all the villagers were completely happy as if nothing had happened. The farm practically intact. Iron golems smiling and protecting their villagers. The houses haven't suffered any scratches, they're shining. And of all the 100 villagers, not one has been defeated. Kawa, I wonder if the houses were built well enough to withstand a tornado. This is the Fujita scale, which runs from EF0, which is the weakest tornado, even the EF5, which is the most powerful tornado of them all. And that's the one we're going to summon in this village. At this very moment, a huge tornado is passing through the village. And it's sweeping everything away. Or rather, it's trying to, because the houses are really well built. I hope they all... Holy cow. I can see several villages flying through this tornado. Poor them, man. Poor things, my God in heaven. More than half the village is already floating in a tornado and has been swept away. This is going to cause a lot of destruction. The iron golems have enough weight and aren't being swept away by a tornado, which is pretty incredible. And it's sweeping up everything it can. Some villagers fell out of the tornado and managed to survive. Others were adrift in the water. Having built this village near the water helped them because the water protected them from harm, but some of them can't swim and they are being wiped out by the water itself, like these two boys here. Poor things. The houses were completely intact even for an EF5 tornado. And this is the village from above. After a tornado passed through it, 85 villagers were still standing. So against tornadoes, the score is 8.5. Jonas, in Japan there are usually earthquakes, but the houses are prepared for them. I wonder if the villagers' houses are too, Lucas. That's what we're going to see now. There's been an earthquake on a very high scale, the maximum scale, and the house is starting to shake a lot. There's even a Steve inside who was sheltered by the villagers, and this cobblestone house is trying to collapse. But it was built so well, it's still standing. And nothing happened to the village. Or rather, nothing at all. The farm is still intact. Steve was here the whole time. Suffering the earthquake, is everything all right there, Steve? Everything's fine, according to him. In fact, after the earthquake, even turtles showed up to take shelter with the villagers. Which means that a villager's house is also earthquake-proof. And none of them were damaged. The buildings received a score of 10-10, and now we're going to take it to the extreme level. All natural disasters at the same time will happen in this village. The tornado has already begun to pull in the villagers. Lightning is striking the houses, and so are meteorites. I decided to appeal since these houses are so well built. There's even an earthquake going on here. A house, as you can see, has just died. Several villagers are being carried away by the EF5 tornado. Some of them are falling and dying. Lightning is taking them to another world. But what impresses me most is that this stone house hasn't suffered a scratch. Another house has just been damaged. Several villagers were hit by these meteorites. And the situation in the village is not good at all. After time has passed, because after all, nothing is eternal. Let's check the damage. There used to be a house here, but now there isn't. There are some homeless villagers here and some who have become zombie villagers because they were taken by some creatures. This house, even with the meteorite falling on it, still survived. It kept its roof, or rather part of the roof, right? The stone house lost part of its roof, but is still 90% standing. The part of the farm was also a little destroyed. It survived a lot, which means that the way the villagers create their farms is very effective. In this part of the village, 2 meteorites fell together and took this house. It was one of the most beautiful houses in the village. On the whole, however, we can see that several villagers are still standing. And by counting them all, 63 villagers still survived, giving it a score of 6.3. And the general conclusion we can draw from all this is that the way villagers build their houses is a very effective way, and it works against practically everything. So if you don't know how to create a house, just copy the villager's house. Or appropriate his. I hope you had fun. Hugs from Lucas and God bless. Bye.